Alright, welcome back to this full Excel eSports course. So we're in the game cases chapter on the first video, which is going to be all about cards and how to deal with them. There's more to come, so subscribe if you want to follow along with the full course. So during this video, I'll be working through this file. You can download it in the description if you want to kind of play along and work along with me. So the file is going to have some kind of fundamental questions about dealing with and manipulating cards, and with those skills you should be able to work your way through most challenges. So what's interesting about cards? Well, we can ask some very easy human questions that are difficult to implement in Excel. For example, if I was just to ask what's the value of these cards, we can intuitively do it, but in Excel it's quite difficult because we need to split the card into its component value and its suit, but not all the values are labelled with a digit. They're labelled ace, and then we do have digits 2 through 10, and then jack, queen, king. And sometimes ace is low, sometimes ace is high, which can make things tricky. So the first question I'm going to ask in this file is simply, what is the value of these cards? Values being 1 to 13 with ace low. So I'm going to pull this out to a new tab, and we're just going to explore that question a little bit, which will show us some of the fundamentals. So let's think about splitting them up for a moment. And the easiest and most intuitive way to do that is to take the left component of this array and the right component. So we can use the left and right formula for those. And let's just center things up so it looks a bit cleaner. So we have all of these values here now, but we need to get them in numerical form. So ideally we want to make some sort of mapping between the card names here and their numerical value. So let's just manually write something for now. So we'll have ace through to 10, and then we'll have jack, queen, and king. And then we can say sequence of 13 to give ourselves a value. And now if ace was high, I could write ace under here instead and give it a different value. And in many card games, it might be that all of the face cards are actually worth 10, or so on and so on. So I'd recommend you always make a mapping for cards before you start any card case, and then work off of that. So now intuitively, what you think you could do is you could XLOOKUP all of these values in here and give me the corresponding numerical digit. However, we're going to have some errors. And why is that? Well, we listed a load of numbers here where we manually typed them, but when we use the left and right formula, things get pulled out as text. And our normal solution that we've discussed before is to just multiply by 1 to convert from text to numbers. But if we do that here, as you'll see, we're only going to multiply the numerical values by 1 and not the text values. Another problem is that when we pulled out the left digit, because 10 has 2 digits and everything else only has 1, we end up not finding the 10 in here. So in our mapping table, we need to remember to turn this into a 1 if we're going to use this method. And now we're working. But how do we fix this values thing? So let's just go back a second. So the easiest way is going to be to make sure everything in our lookup table is text, because we're going to be pulling text out of here. So to do that, we can just say this and a blank character. And that's going to convert everything to text, and it's probably the quickest and easiest way to do it. So I'll copy value that into our table, copy paste it into our table, sorry, and now we have all the values nice and easy. So I think already you can see why cards can be quite difficult to work with. Now an even easier way to kind of solve this type of thing is to already have a lookup table. So I have a Lambda called card details that I have pre-prepared, and all it does is spit out the headings and then all of the cards. So I have card, color, suit, number, the full 10 this time, and the suit symbol, and so on. And I would highly recommend you get this Lambda, because now the question is as simple as saying XLOOKUP all of the cards in this card list and give me the value. See, we get the same answers for each method. Also, when you have a case where all of the face cards are worth kind of 10, I'll only amend this section, which is my first set of cards, the spades, and then I will just copy paste the values 4 times over, and I'll have like a lookup that works for that specific case. So let's just show you how to write this Lambda now, because I think it will save you a lot of time. So you essentially want to list the cards like this manually, and then you want to say equals all of this stuff, come into this formula bar, highlight this and press F9. And now you just have a manual hard coding of all of that stuff in array format. Now all you need to do to convert this to a reusable Lambda is to say equals Lambda, and then close your bracket at the end. If you press enter, you'll get a calculation error, but that is done. So if I was to paste this whole thing into my name manager now, so I'd come to name manager, so I'd come to formulas, name manager, new, and then I can call it what I want. So I'll call it card deets for now, because I already have one. Come into this section here, refers to. You can also press F2 to enter that bit. Control V with my entire formula, press OK, and then we have a reusable card deets formula. So I can type that anywhere, card deets, and I'll get my whole table out. Where I need to amend values in this array, I can't just type over something because I'll get a spill error. So to amend that, I'll just press Control A to highlight the whole table, Control C, Control Shift V, and now everything is pasted as values. And you'll notice my numbers are text, which is the issue we spoke about before. And then I can just amend in here. So I could say 10, copy all of this, and then just copy it 4 times like that. And then all my card values are set. I then have a nice XLOOKUP place to kind of pull out all my card values. So I'm going to keep these 2 tables here for now, for the later questions for my lookups, and let's explore the next question. So my next question is, what is the sum of the values of all of these cards? So we've just spoken about how to split a single card up into its value and suit, but now we need to split a whole string of text up into individual cards. We can't just do something like taking all the 2s, so I'm just going to use a lambda just to show you why, because the 10 obviously has 3 digits, so it will not work out correctly. We went through how to do that in the previous text videos. I'm going to change this to a 10 for this question, so we have a proper full lookup. So that's a text 10 there. So how do we split this up? Well, what you can do is you can take your suits here. So I'm just going to say equals unique of all of my suits. That gives us the 4 suits out. And quite usefully, the text split formula works on multiple things. So every instance of the things here in red will be split on. So that's going to spill, so I'll just put it down here for a second. We're splitting this up by every instance of a suit. Now at the end we're trying to split on the last suit, so we get kind of an empty part of the array here. So we can add a 1 in the ignore empty space to only get our values out. And now we have a simple lookup again from our card number to the value. So you'll either use your manual listing to do this, or if you set up the Lambda like I showed, you would just look them up in this card number and give the value. So then we get all of the values there, we can sum it together, like so. Let's put that up here, and let's just make sure we lock this suits table here. And great, we have the sum of all the cards in these strings. Now let's take it up a level. So what about this situation? Now we're in trouble because the suits are different. We have our original card suits and we have 4 extras which are different symbols. You could use anything for these card symbols. If you used emojis, for example, that would be even trickier because they sometimes have a length 2 instead of length 1. So with the earlier examples, doing left and right and so on just wouldn't work. So now we have a different problem. We can't split on these suits, we need all the suits from here. So how do we get those out? Well, we mentioned we can text split on the suits. We can also text split on the values. If you were to use different symbols for the values, you would make yourself one of these lookup tables with different values. But let's just show what that looks like. So we can say text split this whole string on all of our value elements, and you see we get the suits out. We can remove the empties as we said before, so let's put a 1 in that formula, and then we want to do unique. We want to make sure we do it by column. So now we have all of the suits that appear in these various card strings. So at that point, just like before, we can text split our string on this stuff again. So we kind of have 2 text splits here, but if we say text split this string on those, we get our values out again, and we can do exactly the same as we did before. Okay, now a slightly harder question. We're going to take it up a notch each time. So we want to order the following cards by spades, clubs, hearts, diamonds, and then value. So the reason this is an important question is because often when you're playing card games, there'll be kind of a turn order. So a player will play a turn, and there's normally rules about which card they play first. So you need to be able to order the cards in line with the rules of the card game. So for argument's sake here, let's pretend that the cards were worth most for spades, then clubs, then hearts, then diamonds, and then ace up to king. And I've conveniently picked that order because it aligns with the order of my table. If it didn't, I would reorder this table. And I'll talk about how to do that manually in a second. So at this stage, I'm going to ditch this and assume you have had this Lambda so you don't have to build something manually every time. And in the previous questions, we just spoke about how to pull the values out of this. But now we want to pull both the value and the suit so that we get the individual cards. So the easiest way to actually do that now is with regex. So you can say reg extract from this text all of these cards. And what that will do is it will check down this list whether the things exist and it will pull them out. So we have that, for example. If you didn't like reg extract, you could also say search for all of this stuff in the list, and it would give you a value if it appears. You could then say is number that, so it will turn to trues or falses. You could then say filter this list on those trues or falses, and you'll get your cards out. So that's the first step. I'm going to go back to the regex way because I think it's simpler. So reg extract from this all of these cards. We then want to get rid of the NAs, so we can use the 2col trick that we spoke about in some of the fundamental videos. So 2col just to get rid of the errors, and that's a nice quick way to get our cards out. Let's just quickly talk about a method if the suits were different, i.e. didn't have this table and we had kind of crazy suits like we did before. So in that case, you could say text split this on your values again. So let's just go down here and we'll get all our suits out. So let's do our whole unique thing. So let's get rid of all the empty spaces. Let's do unique, unique by column. So we get our suits out. You would then take all of your numbers, so ace through king, and you could then say equals this and this. That gives you all of the cards. And then you can say equals 2col all of this stuff. And now you have a list in order of all the cards. And what you'd want to do is put your suits in order up here of value. So if the suits had to be ordered as well as the numbers, you'd order the suits how you wanted, then you'd order the numbers how you wanted, and you can do the same method and you'll get a list out. So that's how to generate this first column of the table manually. So as I mentioned earlier, I've conveniently ordered this table in the order I want. If it wasn't, I would do that manual method where I just had that table out that I showed you. Now at this stage, it's quite easy to order it because my table is already sorted into the order I want, and I just showed you how to do that manually if it's not. So what do I need to do now? Well, hang on, they're actually sorted in the order I wanted. And why is that? It's because I pulled them out from here with regex or the search method, and these are already in order. So all I need to do then is concatenate them back together. Normally you wouldn't do that, but now those cards are ordered. What you'd normally do in a game is you would do some rules with this, so play this first, something happens, play this second, something happens, and so on and so on. And we'll talk about that in one of the later videos in this chapter, how to pull things out. It's quite simple really, it's just indexing on the number of the next thing to play. So that's it for sorting a hand in any way you choose. And then the final question here, how many runs and sets of 3? So this comes up fairly often, so let's just put those cards in here. So each row here is representing one question, and this is a real question that came up. And it purposely uses slightly different emojis to the emojis here in my Lambda. And I've chosen to do that on purpose so that this is all done from first principles. So the most intuitive way to try and pull out sets and runs, and let's just recap what those are. So sets could be 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind. Normally that's as far as you'll go with a unique deck of 52 cards, but if you had duplicate cards, you could end up getting 5, 6, whatever. And runs are typically things like ace 2, 3, or 3, 4, 5, and so on. Sometimes ace is high, sometimes ace is low, sometimes there's wraparound, so you might be able to go king, ace, 2, for example. But let's cover how to do all of that. So the first thing you want to do is list out all of your numbers, and again you can do this in whatever order the runs are specified in. So if runs had to be every other card, you'd list this like ace, 3, 5, 7, and so on, and then the other odd numbers, whatever order you want your run to be in. Then I want to get all my suits across here, and I showed you how to do that before when all of these were in a single string, but now the array is helpfully split out. So to do that I can just say write for now of these. Or if I had some really weird suits that were not always length 1, I could say text after instead of text split. So text after this and all of these things. So again, this takes arrays, text split, text before, text after, which is very useful. So I can say unique of those by column, and I get my 4 suits out. Now I'm just going to copy those values for the moment, and then the aim here is to do a count. So count if this is my array, and I'm going to lock it, and I want to count that if it's these things and these things. So just to show you what that looks like, if I say equals these and these, it gives us an array of all of the cards like we had earlier, and then I'm just saying count if this row says any of these things. And then I'm going to put these numbers into kind of a counting format like so. And the original question was how many runs of 3 or sets of 3 are there? So in this format it's quite easy to see when we have a set. So a set is anything that has 3 or more numbers coming across here. If we were looking for pairs, it would be 2 or more numbers, and so on. So we can see that we have 3 kings. So then we can just say sum of this is greater than 2. So greater than 2 will give us anything that's 3 or more. So if I pull that down, we see we get a true on kings. We can then say filter this for this. And we can see, okay, we have a set of kings, 3 kings. Now, what about runs? So runs are most often in the same suit. Occasionally you'll be asked about if there's a run and it can cross over suits. In that case, you don't need to split things down by suit. You can just do it like this and do a similar method. And a run is where we have 3 back-to-back things. So how do we determine where there's 3 numbers in a row? Well, we can just say sum, highlight 3 things, and say is that greater than 2? And let's just put a minus minus on it and wrap it in brackets to turn it into 1s and 0s. Pull it here, and then let's pull it down here. Let's just make sure we get to where the runs stop, so the runs would stop there. So again, let's do our format here, and we can see, if we just copy these, that our runs start at the 9. So it's 9, 10, Jack is our run. So how would we pull out all the cards? Well, what we could say, instead of just this flag of whether it exists, what we could say is if the sum of that is greater than 2, then give me the concatenation of this stuff. Otherwise, give me a blank. And I'll just want to lock these to the column. And now if I copy that as a formula to everything, you'll see we get 9, 10, Jack. So it's not the prettiest format, but it will get you there for what you need. Things like runs, sets, poker hands are quite complicated, but now that you know how to manipulate cards, it's generally a case of splitting out the value from the suit, counting each, and then checking if your conditions are met. For example, for a full house, you'd count if you have 3 of something and 2 of another thing. So in this example, for a full house, you would do the sum of this, and then if one of them is 3 and one of them is 2, you would have a full house. So we could have 2 9s here and 3 kings. So you do something like, I'm looking for 2 of something, 3 of something, let's say X match these 2 numbers in here. If they appear, I will get 2 numbers, so I can say is number. If both of those are true, I have a full house, so I can say and. So that means I have a full house. And then if I was to change the question to this one, for example, we still have a full house. What about this one? Now we don't have a full house because we only have 2s of something. So that's it for this video. It's quite a technical one, but cards can be tricky. And I've shown you a lot there that will get you well on your way. Next time we're going to talk about dice games. Going to be a shorter video than this because they're not that complicated. However, I'll try to include a few other nice bits of information there. So hopefully I will see you next time.